Gareth Story Planet.
So cast your mind back a little bit. So when you first had your little ones, that was when you got the bug to want to write.
Yeah.
Why?
So when my first daughter was born, she's 21 soon.
Wow. You don't look old enough.
I know. I was only 10 when I had her. So we spent a lot of time at the library.
Excellent.
Went to the library, read some really, really good books and read some not so good books as well. And one day I came home and said to Andrew, my husband, that I'd read this book in the library and it was a bit rubbish, to be honest. It was probably about 50 years old. It was,
Wow.
But I wouldn't have known that at the time. So I came home and I said, I read this book and it was a bit rubbish and I could do better than that. And he said, go on then. So I said, right, I will.
I love it.
So I kind of, I've always written, but I never really knew that you could do it as a job.
Okay.
When I was growing up, I always saw those things in the back of magazines that said, like, make a living from your writing. You were a bit young for those, but...
Magazines,
like in back of like comics and stuff. I don't know, but I kind of thought, I never thought that was something that I could do.
Okay.
It didn't seem like an actual job, and I don't think I really made the connection that people wrote books for a really long time.
Oh yeah, no.
I just thought they were books.
They just appear.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a book.
Yeah. So that was when she was about 1. And then so I started kind of putting some little ideas together and wrote a few things But, I was a new mum, I was also working, then I had another child and I was still working and I was trying to write and just didn't really have any time, didn't have a clue what I was doing, had no idea about the publishing industry at all.
Wow.
Just kind of thought, I can do this. As many people do,
a lot of people.
When they have young children, they think, I could do that, it doesn't look too hard, I'll just write a few lines and get someone to illustrate it. How hard could it be? But then
it's a lot harder in practice, though, isn't it? Yeah,
a little bit, yeah. And I think the general rule is the simpler a book looks, the more difficult it has been to create. So I sent a few things off, and
to who? To where?
I can't even remember. I sent stuff off to some agents.
So it was agents. That's what I meant. Not exactly.
Well, and to publishers. Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. I just I dug out some of my old stuff. I can remember. I sent one submission to, can't even remember who it was now, and said, because I picked up that they used sustainable paper, and wrote this great thing about how I would fit in with them because I was into being green, and I thought their use of sustainable paper was a good thing. And you cringe when you look back at it.
What? Did it work?
No. No, but so years went by. I didn't really get anywhere. And then we moved house and I met a woman who was self-publishing. So she'd set up a little Christian publishing house herself and published her own books. And she told me about the Bologna Book Fair.
Oh, yes.
So basically, for those of you who don't know, twice a year there are these massive trade fairs that... it's all to do with books. So in Bologna, it's all about children's books, and it's like all the publishers from all over the world come together and they exhibit the books that are coming out each year, and they sell those to other publishers to publish them in their country, and that's called a co-edition. And so, say a UK publisher would sell the rights to a book to, say, a French publisher, and then they make money from that, and that's kind of a big part of publishing kind of income.
That also helps with the spreading the cost to produce the book, isn't it? Because it's exactly the same plates, they just change the text, don't they?
And they get a bigger print run, so it
makes
brings
it cheaper.
The cost per book down.
Sure.
So she said to me, why don't you go to Bologna? I'm like, because I don't know. So I basically put a portfolio together of some stories.
Got your backpack?
Had 3 stories, took my backpack, and I fired out some emails to publishers who I felt I wanted to be in with, to editors, thinking, maybe I could organise some meetings before I went.
How did you find out these names?
I can't even remember. I think I went in the writers' Writers and Illustrators yearbook.
Oh right,
handbook.
okay, yep. Published by Bloomsbury, I think that one is, isn't it? Big,
Yeah.
thick tome
Yeah.
full of.
It's got all the
lots.
publishers and all the agents and who's who, basically.
Yeah.
So I just went through that, and I thought of publishers that I liked and had heard of.
Excellent.
So I tried to get meetings, and no one wanted to meet me. Of course, why would they? Who was I?
Who is she?
Who is this woman? Yeah. So I just went and doorstepped. So I went round the fair. I mean, it's massive. It's really overwhelming. Really massive. Tried to get meetings. No one wanted to meet me. One editor did come off the stand because they're not there to meet people like me. They're there to make deals with other publishers.
Okay.
But one editor did come off the stand and said, "I'm really sorry. You know, I'd love to be able to spend some time with you, but my day is just chock-a-block, and I've got no time." So that's fine. But she said, you know, send me your stuff and I'll have a look. I thought, but I thought, oh, she's not interested. What's the point? So I didn't.
Wow.
Stupidly. And then various other things happened, and I managed to gate crash a party because all the publishers have like their office parties as well. You see in different bars and things where they get together with their international partners and stuff.
That's amazing.
So I gate crashed a party, and was sat at the bar. And someone sat next to me was ordering a drink in Italian. I couldn't speak Italian because it's in Italy. So I said, "You couldn't like order me a drink, could you?" She's like, "Yeah, who are you anyway?" So I was like, this stranger just turned up. So I told her who I was, and she was like, "Oh wow, that's good for you, you know, for coming out." And she turned out to be a very well-known agent. Who I had actually sent some work to. And I said, "Oh my God, I've sent you some stories." And she's like, "I'm really sorry, you know, don't always have time to read everything. But, you know, please do send it again." So anyway, I went home from the fair and...
straight on the old email?
Sent the stories again. Oh, I think I said, "Oh, shall I send you my new stuff?" I'll send you my new stuff. I didn't have any new stuff. I just sent the same thing. And
that's cool.
Yeah. And she got back to me and she said, "I really like what you've done, but I haven't got time to take on a new person who needs support. But my very good friend, Nancy Miles, has just set up as an agent and she might be interested."
This is a name I know.
So I said, "Oh, you couldn't like send my work to her, could you?" Because I thought coming from her would have a bit more clout. And she's like, "Oh, I already have." So it's like, "Hey."
Oh my gosh.
So that was kind of how I got in touch with my agent, but it was another 6 months before I signed because I didn't really know whether I needed an agent at that point. I was like, "Oh, maybe I could just do this myself," you know, in my kind of naive overconfidence. But
I've done a video all about how I got my agent, and you obviously play a massive part of that. But there was a time that I was contemplating this as well.
Yeah.
For me, it was absolutely the right decision.
Yeah.
Because of their knowledge of the industry as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, a lot of authors and illustrators don't have an agent, and they do absolutely fine. But for me, what it was that I got a commission from another author, asked me to write something.
Wow.
That he'd been asked to write and he didn't want to do it. Quite a famous author.
So he outsourced to you.
Basically, yeah.
Amazing.
So I thought, oh great, you know, yeah, I'll do that. Wrote this thing, sent it in, and it didn't really work because the editor hadn't been on the loop.
Okay.
And kind of, I don't know, was putting up a lot of barriers for various reasons I can't go into. But anyway, at that point I thought, actually, I can't have this conversation and still be a person that they like.
Okay.
You know, I felt like if I had an agent, they could have the tricky conversation and I could be the good guy. And that is the point at which I signed. And that contract never happened in the end. But it was really good experience, and it kind of gave me a boost. It gave me confidence. Well, this very well-known author believes in me, so I must have something.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
So you signed up with Nancy, or did Nancy pass it on?
I signed with Nancy, so Mandy So wasn't there at that time. It was just Nancy on her own. So she was brand new. She had about 5 or 6 other people on her list at that point. Yeah. So I signed with Nancy, and then the other serendipitous thing. So you know, I mentioned the editor that came off the stand to talk to me.
Yes.
I went to an SCBWI meeting. That's the Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. So it's a society for people who want to become authors.
Sure.
And they do various seminars, and sometimes commissioning editors come in and do a little talk. So I've only ever been to one event by them. So So I went to that in London, and it was this editor, I didn't even realise, this editor who had come off the stand to talk to me was there.
No way.
And so she did her little talk and everything, and then she came up to me, she said, "Oh God, I'm so sorry I didn't have time to see you." I'm like, blimey, she's remembered me.
Wow.
And she said, "I'll dig your manuscript out from the pile." And I said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll send it again." Because I hadn't actually sent it. Because I'd thought at the time, in Bologna, oh, she's not interested, what's the point?
Of course, yeah.
This was like, I've been like plodding around for 10 hours, so I was knackered. And that was this book. That was this book. So that was one of my first books. It was published by Hodder, which has been republished now under a new name called Say Sorry Sydney.
Say Sorry Sydney?
Yeah, with a slightly different title.
I think it's great.
It's been republished as that a bit more recently. Illustrated by Sarah Horn.
That's amazing.
So
that was the first one. That started the canon of books that came streaming out of you.
And then I had other stories that my agent was submitting. So in that first year I had 3 books out. One with, I had Supermarket Zoo with Simon and Schuster.
Oh yes.
I had Rhino What Rhino with Hodder. And I had Don't Dip Your Chips in Your Drink, Kate.
Oh yeah. And how many years ago was this one?
2010.
2010.
2009 with Orchard. And that one won a prize as well. At the Sheffield Children's Book Awards.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so I had a look, and you've won quite a lot of awards actually.
Yeah.
What one is nearest and dearest to you, award wise?
Well, I was shortlisted for the Red House Awards, and that's a national one. So that they don't do it anymore, I don't think.
Okay.
But, that was quite a biggie. We didn't win. That was Welcome to Alien School, illustrated by Ed Eves. So we didn't win that, but that was cool to be shortlisted. Yeah, I don't know. We won. We were shortlisted for International Bookshop Week Book Awards.
Wow, that's cool.
With Girls Gonna Do Anything. That didn't win.
Good
but,
book.
We were shortlisted for that. So yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So you mentioned Ed just then. So you've done quite a few books in the Albie series, which are brilliant with Ed. Are you on the telephone with him every day? Just when should we do next? Okay, right, I'm going to start it today. You go. Action.
No, Ed and I have this kind of telepathy going on. So we see. So generally, when you write a picture book, you don't really have a discussion with the illustrator, as you will know now. But for people who don't know, so I will talk to an editor. The editor will talk with a designer, and the designer will talk to the illustrator. And they don't really want you to talk directly to each other because it's partly to do with ownership. So if you're in a partnership picture book, if you do it all yourself, it's all you. But if you've got an author and an illustrator, it's 50-50 the ownership of that book. So if the author is kind of telling the illustrator what to do, it kind of shifts that dynamic a bit.
Yeah.
And it also might not be what the designer has in mind. Obviously, a designer knows a little bit more about design than I do, quite a lot more. So you tend to not actually discuss the content of the book.
Okay.
But we do meet up with each other at parties and social events and stuff.
Yeah.
But Ed and I, we have this. So basically, he said to me once, when you see my drawings, my illustrations, are they anything like you imagine? And I'm like, Ed, what you draw is exactly what's inside my head. Don't know how he does it. He just...
Spooky.
Yeah, I'll show you one of his. Where's the latest one? So this is the newest one.
Oh, yes. I'm a fan of this one.
How to Find Egyptian Treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And this is book 9? I think this is book 9 in this series. And it's like a little adventure story.
They're so cute.
They're very, very cute. So, yeah, Ed and I have this kind of thing where I think it in my head and he draws it.
He draws it. Amazing.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
Oh, fantastic.
But then others, you kind of... Sometimes you'll see a sample, so you'll know roughly what the characters are going to look like, but you won't necessarily know what the world looks like.
Okay.
And so when you've done the words and those have all been agreed, then an illustrator will draw roughs and you get to see those. So...
oh yes, you have some.
Show you some roughs.
This is an amazing little workshop, by the way. There's so much that you
so
can't show
here are some
you.
roughs that have been done by Ros Beardshaw for a book 2 in a series. So you'll get to see like pencil drawings, to get an idea of
how exciting
what the story's going to be like. So you kind of, and you know, you get to comment on those and kind of feedback.
Yeah, of course.
So you're involved. Like
in the whole process, yeah, absolutely. So, we don't necessarily get to choose, but the books that I've done so far, they ask you what do you think to these certain people, which, you know, I think is lovely.
Yeah,
I think it's great. We are actually running out of time, so there's just a couple of quick fire questions, my lovely. Off the top of your head, what is your favourite book that you've written? And I know everyone has found this one difficult to answer.
Favourite book that I've written. Okay, I'm gonna say.
Time's running out.
I'm gonna say Girls Can Do Anything.
Amazing.
Because they can.
I like it. Very, very good. Is there a subject matter that you haven't written about yet that you want to write about?
Yeah, I want to write about boys' feelings.
Amazing.
Like something to counter all the kind of toxic masculinity that's out there, really. Still out there.
Yes,
shockingly
agreed.
So I do want to write about that.
Fantastic. And the last thing, hopefully there's going to be a lot of debut authors and aspiring writers watching this video now. What one piece of advice would you give them?
My one piece of advice would be set your bar high, because if you're starting out in picture books, you're basically competing against all the established authors and illustrators that are out there already. So your book can't be the worst, it's got to be the best. So
to stand out.
Set your bar high.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
You're really welcome.
It is always a pleasure to interact with you and come and give you a big squeeze as well. And it's lovely to have a catch up as well. I don't feel I see you as much as I can, because a lot of who I am today has been aided by you. So thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
It's amazing. Now go and buy our books. And I want to thank all of you so much for watching all of the videos on Gareth's Story Planet. If you do have any comments, any questions, make sure you pop them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share these videos with everybody, because I feel in such a privileged position to for them to let me come to their houses or you know, go to little workshops and things, that I want to pass some of that back on to you. So please, please, please make sure that you share these videos with everybody, and also have an awesome day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.